You need to understand this. What you call as myself right now is a huge volume of memory. Your body is the way it is simply because of the genetic memory that it carries. You have your mother's nose, your father's complexion and something else, your grandfather's something else. Simply because what you call as your body is a complex amalgamation of memory. A very ancient memory lives in your body. What you call as my mind is 100% memory, right? So you are a huge heap of memory in many ways. And memory goes into you in different ways. Through all the five senses, you gather memory. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. Of all these five different ways of gathering memory, what you see and what you touch are the deepest forms of memory. Especially what you touch creates a certain level of memory in the system. So when you say a spouse, you have touched, and there is a certain level of memory. Now, your divorce means in some way you're trying to rip that memory off, and that's not going to be easy for various reasons. But at the same time, the very fact that you're going through your divorce means you want to be finished with that memory in some way. Maybe not erase that memory, but someone who was a spouse, someone who was in many ways a part of your life, slowly, for whatever reason, you have begun to experience them as a baggage that you're unwilling to carry. So, you want to keep the baggage aside, but you find the baggage is not something that you voluntarily carry, it is something that compulsively sticks to you. So when whatever sticks to you compulsively, if you try to rip it off, there will be pain. See if you can get rid of your mother from your system. You will see it's impossible. So similarly, memory has built up about your spouse, you can't just get rid of it just like that. If you do it, even mentally, psychologically, if you're equipped to do it, you will still see the whole system will go through a certain level of suffering invariably. Even if emotionally, psychologically you're in a balanced state that you can deal with it, the system will go through a certain process. You will see that especially when you are taken away from your spouse, either through divorce or death, you will see the memory within your system plays up much more strongly when they're not here. Particularly when death happens, you will see the memory of your spouse works in every cell in your body, if you have lived long enough together. It is not just an emotional and psychological process, it is a very physical process. So divorce is a voluntary death. You have decided to kill something that is a part of you in some. It is because of this reason that having this understanding of the existence and the way the system functions, that they always told you, till death do you apart, you will not part. Because there is a physical memory about this, and the body doesn't have the balance of the mind. The mind can decide and turn around, but the body cannot turn around. The more memory you build into it, the more confused it becomes. So one type of memory, body handles it much better. Now that you've chosen to divorce for whatever reasons, which I don't want to delve into, if it could be avoided, that would be best. But for some reason, you have come to that situation where this has to happen. You need to understand this, That divorce essentially means you have chosen to kill something which is a part of you, because what you call as myself is just a certain volume of memory. Now, to how to conduct this grace, people think the best way to conduct a divorce is immediately jump into another relationship and another relationship of the same kind. No, you will cause much more struggle and turmoil within the system by doing that. It's extremely important the body has enough time to work out the memory. The body has enough time to keep the memory at a certain distance. Otherwise, you will render yourself to a space where to make yourself peaceful and joyful will become an extremely hard thing to do in your life. So conducting this process gracefully and well is important, as it is important to conduct every aspect of your life gracefully and well. Now, two people who have shared their emotion, their body, their sensations and their living spaces. Ripping it apart is because two memories have merged in many ways. Ripping it apart is almost like tearing yourself apart. Even though you might have begun to almost come to a place where you can't stand the person anymore, still it hurts. Simply because you are trying to rip out a memory which is you, because you are a bundle of… If one does the necessary spiritual sadhana, if one does sufficient inner work to establish these energies, which is yourself, you're only divorcing your spouse, you need not divorce yourself. But you need to understand this, you have already divorced yourself, you're quite divorced from your own self. Your existence has been nurtured by making a bond, a partnership or a bondage, depending upon how you conducted this, to make yourself feel whole in some way. Most partnerships of this nature are made because by yourself you would feel insufficient, incomplete, but that's not how life is. This is a complete life process by itself. It does not need any assistance from outside. So now that you come to such a situation, it is time to turn inward and see. It is time that you find the completeness of what this life is. It is time you discover that this being is a complete being. It does not need any external assistance to be the way it is. To conduct our life in a society, we are interdependent, but the fundamental existence of this, the balance of what this is, the space of what this is, the possibility of what this is a complete process by itself. Our interdependence is only according to our external requirements, but our inner existence is complete by itself. You are divorcing your spouse, which is bad enough. Do not divorce yourself from yourself. Don't make living on the land lucrative. The migration to the city is going to be so large in the next 15, 20 years, you cannot manage. Already cities are becoming unloved. All cities are literally… the migration is going to be so big. Unless you make living on the land really lucrative. Trees are the best way because there's no other magical rock which will give you this acceptance.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. So I want to know the truth about rebirth and reincarnation. In one of my movies, I play a character who's reborn with the same traits. Is that even possible?
Namaskaram, Kajal. When you say rebirth, you're essentially asking what happens after death. Well, some things you know best only by experience. I'm sure you're not ready for that, nor do I want you to go in that direction.
If I tell you there is reincarnation, what is the option that you have? To believe it or disbelieve it? Isn't it? If you believe what I say, you just have a fancy story going for yourself. If you disbelieve it, you have something to deny. Both ways only entertainment will happen. Nothing else will happen, isn't it? If you really want to know, you must be willing. If you're willing to apply yourself, there is a way to know. In my life, it's a living reality. The last 3 lifetimes for me are in the same place, same work, to some extent same people. Till it becomes a reality in your experience, you should not believe this nonsense.
Don't believe anything, don't disbelieve anything, but if you just pay attention to yourself, you can see the body that you carry is something that you slowly accumulated. So the body that you carry is a piece of this planet actually. The mind that you carry is a heap of impressions that you gathered. So what is it that accumulates this heap of food and heap of information as mind and body? That dimension is beyond birth and rebirth. You may once again accumulate another body and another mind, but essentially life as such is the same thing. So, when it comes to life, you must understand there is something called as my body and your body, there is something called as my mind and your mind, but there is no such thing as my life and your life. Life is just a cosmic happening. This is a living cosmos. How much of life you captured will determine how large a life you live. What is the scope and spread of your life will simply depend on how much life you captured within yourself. The entire science of yoga is just about this, how to make this life super enhanced so that the scope and spread of this life is as much as it can be.
Yoga is not about standing upside down.
Yoga is not something you do when you only retire.
Yoga is not about twisting your body.
Yoga is not only about having a six-pack.
Yoga is not just to make you look good.
And now my guru, Sadhguru, will tell us what yoga really is.
As there is a science and technology for external well-being, there is a whole science and technology for inner well-being. This is what yoga is about. If you learn to use it, it will definitely work for you irrespective of who you are.
How can you avoid angry?
How can you avoid? If you're driving on the Coimbatore streets, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving on Coimbatore street, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. We have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at… You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you are also good. If outside situations are bad, you're also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. No. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life.
Don't make living on the land liberate. Migration to the city is going to be so long in the next 15, 20 years, you cannot manage. Already cities are becoming enormous. All cities are usually… Migration is going to be so big unless you make living on the land really proper. Trees are the best way because there's no other magical law which will give you these examples. We've been running out of…
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. So I want to know the truth about rebirth and reincarnation. In one of my movies, I play a character who's reborn with the same traits. Is that even possible?
Namaskaram, Kajal. When you say rebirth, you're essentially asking what happens after death. Well, some things you know best only by experience. I'm sure you're not ready for that, nor do I want you to go in that direction.
If I tell you there is reincarnation, what is the option that you have? To believe it or disbelieve it? Isn't it? If you believe what I say, you just have a fancy story going for yourself. If you disbelieve it, you have something to deny. Both ways only entertainment will happen. Nothing else will happen, isn't it? If you really want to know, you must be willing. If you're willing to apply yourself, there is a way to know. In my life, it's a living reality. The last 3 lifetimes for me are in the same place, same work, to some extent same people. Till it becomes a reality in your experience, you should not believe this nonsense.
Don't believe anything, don't disbelieve anything, but if you just pay attention to yourself, you can see the body that you carry is something that you slowly accumulated. So the body that you carry is a piece of this planet actually. The mind that you carry is a heap of impressions that you gathered. So what is it that accumulates this heap of food and heap of information as mind and body? That dimension is beyond birth and rebirth. You may once again accumulate another body and another mind, but essentially life as such is the same thing. So, when it comes to life, you must understand there is something called as my body and your body, there is something called as my mind and your mind, but there is no such thing as my life and your life. Life is just a cosmic happening. This is a living cosmos. How much of life you captured will determine how large a life you live. What is the scope and spread of your life will simply depend on how much life you captured within yourself. The entire science of yoga is just about this, how to make this life super enhanced so that the scope and spread of this life is as much as it can be.
Yoga is not about standing upside down.
Yoga is not something you do when you only retire.
Yoga is not about twisting your body.
Yoga is not only about having a six-pack.
Yoga is not just to make you look good.
And now my Guru, Sadhguru, will tell us what yoga really is.
As there is a science and technology for external well-being, there is a whole science and technology for inner well-being. This is what yoga is about. If you learn to use it, it will definitely work for you irrespective of who you are.
How can you avoid angry?
How can you avoid? If you're driving on the Coimbatore streets, you have to avoid the medians which are placed in odd places. You have to avoid bad drivers. You have to avoid drunken men crossing the street, children crossing the street, all kinds of things. But when you're driving on Coimbatore street, do you have to avoid the moon? I'm asking, do you have to avoid the moon? No, because the moon is not on the street, isn't it? So similarly, right now are you angry? No? Then why should you avoid it? There's no need to avoid it. It is just that you think anger is an entity. Anger is not an entity. You become angry. You become angry. Anger is not sitting somewhere and you go hit it. There is no such thing. You become angry. When you become angry, is it pleasant for you or unpleasant for you? Unpleasant for you. Unpleasant for others for sure, unpleasant for yourself also. Today, medical science proves to you, when you're angry, you're actually poisoning your system. We have always known this, but today chemical tests clearly show you that you're actually poisoning your system, generating poison in the system by being angry. So, why would you want to poison yourself? It is not a conscious act. You're poisoning yourself, you're causing unpleasantness to yourself only because your mind is not taking instructions from you, isn't it? It is not taking instructions. If it was taking instructions from you, you would have said blissfulness, isn't it? You wouldn't say anger. But now when you want to be peaceful, it is getting angry because it is not taking instructions from you. So if your mind is not taking instructions from you, you have to pay a little more attention to it. Why is it not taking instructions from you? If you understand this, you don't have to avoid anger, because anger is not sitting there and getting at… You are becoming angry, you are becoming unhappy, you are becoming miserable. These things are happening to you essentially because you have not done anything to take your faculties under your control. It is happening accidentally, just by chance. If outside situations are good, you're also good. If outside situations are bad, you're also bad. That is not how human life should be. Human life should be like this. If I am good, everything around me becomes good. This should be the reality, isn't it? Right now, if things around me are whichever way, I will become that way. No. Human consciousness should create situations. Right now, situations are creating human consciousness. That's not the right way to shape human life. Different shapes and sizes kind of create different kinds of energy structures. These energy structures can determine your psychological and emotional state. So, certain substances can change the atmosphere. It's a precious little material and you have to walk miles and miles to get substantial amount of resin. It just makes the atmosphere feel more lively.
This question comes from Ashley in Memphis. Namaskaram Sadhguru. Incense has been used for thousands of years in almost every culture to invoke gods, support meditation, and for healing and medicinal purposes. Burning herbs and resins has been an especially big part of both Indian history as well as Native American history. Can you please speak about the significance of burning incense and how incense should be used in modern times?
Oh, is that the reason I'm being smoked and… And the question is from Ashley. Incense is usually ashly. Without ash, there is no incense. Well, the significance of this is, there are certain substances when they burn. One thing is there is fragrance, of course, which is pleasant for the nostrils. And incense burning is about the atmosphere, not about you. Because different spaces, indoors especially, in different spaces, there are different kinds of… One thing is smells, there's also different kinds of energy structures which will happen. The shape and size of the room will do this. This is why there is such a attention to the shape and size of the room. In Indian culture, there is a whole attention to the shape and size of the room in which you live, because the shape and size of the room in some way, if it is not heavily ventilated. When I say heavily ventilated, from both sides, two walls are open and it's happening, then it feels almost like outdoor. That's different. Most homes are not made this way because they have neighbors, you can't open too many windows too many openings won't work, there is weather, there are many things, all right. And there is air conditioning, worse. So, different shapes and sizes kind of create different kinds of energy structures. These energy structures can, if they become very strong, can determine your psychological and emotional state, which either can be conducive or can become an impediment in who you want to be. So, certain substances, like sandal in India, there is something called as samrani, which is a very powerful thing, which is used even when people are ill. First thing they do is this, and it is now been found it also kills certain types of bacteria in the air and also on the surfaces. So especially if there is a sick person in the house, samrani everywhere. If they want to do some auspicious event, samrani all over the place. It's a certain kind of resin which as a tree drips. Well, in this pursuit of samrani, you will see in the forest there are massive trees. People would have carved into the tree because the trees look solid outside, but inside there is a cavity. In that cavity, it will be dripping this resin. We do not know, at least I do not know, what is the natural reason why these resins come out, but people go and gather this. It's a precious little material and you have to walk miles and miles to get substantial amount of resin, because these trees have to be mature. That means they must be at least over 30 to 50 years old, otherwise you don't get it. This has a powerful impact on the atmosphere. It is not necessarily a fragrance, it is a different kind of thing, that it clarifies the air, it just makes the atmosphere feel more lively. Fundamentally, whatever structures that are there, it will make indoor like outdoor. If you burn a mild, you shouldn't to put too much, then you will sneeze and lose your brains. Just mild samrani in the house will make it feel like, though you're indoors, the feeling is of outdoors because it's an unstructured space. Especially if death happens in the family, samrani is burnt for up to 11 to 12 days because they want to clear that air completely. These are subtler aspects, but I'm little apprehensive of speaking about this in United States because there is already so much new age, you know. Because first when I came to Nashville, someone in Nashville told me that, "Sadhguru, there is a spiritual expo happening." I said, "What? Spiritual expo?" Even in India, it happens only once in 12 years. No, here every year we have. I said, "I want to see." They said, "Okay, let's go." And then in the afternoon, they came to pick me up and they said, "Sadhguru, we've gotten a slot for you to speak in the spiritual expo." I said, "Great." For the first time I'm in United States, I thought, spiritual expo. And I went there. A huge tent and when we went in there, country music was going on, full blast. Obviously this was a group which wouldn't find any other paid stage. Maybe in the evening more known groups would come, in the afternoon, it's an empty stage, anybody can use the sound system. So they were banging away. I said, "Okay, spiritual expo." But it's okay, music is just a cultural thing, let me focus on the spiritual expo. I went inside, somebody is selling a spiritual bath soap. Wow. Somebody is selling a spiritual stone, a pebble from somewhere which is spiritual. Like this, roots, herbs, this, that. I don't know if there was a toothbrush. Then I thought, oh, this is like the Indian shandy. You know, in the Indian villages there is a shandy. Sunday market or Wednesday market or Monday markets like this. So here there will be all kinds of exotic things being sold. There will be a root just this much, twisted like this, it should not be straight, you know, it should be… I can't do that with my finger. So if you take this is a root that could make you invisible. You must go grind this along with the left jawbone of a female whale. And the whale should be alive. That means you actually swam in there, cut a piece of the jaw and came, and together, if you rub this together along with something and there is a mantra, if you do this, and then that paste, if you put it in the upper palate, you will become invisible. Actually, if you go into the mouth of the whale, you will become invisible. Anyway, then I saw, oh, this is like an Indian shandy. There they were selling all kinds of exotic incense also. Incense has a certain impact, but don't overdo it. Don't think it'll determine your spiritual nature. It can change the atmosphere a little bit. It should not be over certified. It has certain impact. One can use it in a sensible manner, but these days incense is being made with chemical stuff. Best you don't burn those things. It's very, very important before you have enough chemical thing happening on the street, in the industry, in the factory floor that you may be working, wherever, there's enough chemicals floating around. At least within your house, do not burn chemically made incense, because I think that is almost 70% or 80% of what's available in the market today is chemical. You must check it out before you burn it. It's very, very important because within the closed enclosures, if you burn chemicals, well, the negative impact of that is very, very big. So it must be natural resin or certain other oils, essential oils and things which can make a difference. A mild difference, if you need that kind of a difference, it helps. What is the secret of your joy? The officer said, oh, that…
For this you do one thing, all of you. Start today, okay?
This is a simple exercise everybody must do. At the end of the day, you sit in your bed and look back on the whole day. This happened. You heard of Lao Tzu? Lao Tzu? Lao Tzu is a celebrated Zen master today. Even then, he gathered a certain number of disciples around. It's part of the Zen tradition that when the master or the guru is dying, people gather around for a final message. So at the age of 83 or 84, he was passing. So people gathered around him and asked him, Master, what is the secret of your joy? You know, he faced a lot of extreme situations in his life. He was accused of things that he had never thought of, and He went through troubles. So people asked, you went through so many things, but you were always joyful. What is the secret of your joy? Lao Tzu said, oh, it's just that every day in the morning when I woke up, I used to get a question. The question is, today, shall I be joyful or miserable? Till now, I just happened to choose joy, that's all. So have you made your choice, I'm asking? Every day in the morning, if a question comes to you, I will come and ask you a question every day in the morning. Today, you're going to be joyful or miserable. What's your choice? You must make this choice every day. Today, I'm going to be joyful. Joy is not a goal by itself. It is just that when you're joyful, you're pleasant to the world. When you're joyful, you're sensible in your head. When you're joyful, you will not do stupid things against yourself.
There is nobody who has not been happy. Everybody's been happy, but the problem is they're not able to maintain it, that's all.
So, you don't have to enforce any resolutions upon yourself, just little tools to make sure that you don't sink. Suppose, let's say your life is done, you're on your deathbed, tomorrow you're going to die. If you look back and see, is it all worthwhile? Have you done things that you really wanted to do? Don't look at it at the end of your life, you must look at it at the beginning of your life. Suppose you're on your deathbed, you're going to die, maybe you lived 100 years, but look back and see, has life been worthwhile? Have you done things that really matter to you or no? Because most people get truthful only if death is imminent. Otherwise, they know how to lie to themselves and to everybody. Most people tell the truth only when you put a gun to their head, unfortunately. I'm saying don't wait for somebody else to put the gun, you put it tonight and watch. Suppose I'm going to die now. Have I done things that are really worthwhile in my life? Things that I could be proud of, things that are worth spending my life upon? Has my life been done this way? If you just look at this, you will make an impact on the society, whatever you do. Whatever you do, you will make an impact. We do not know what you can do and cannot do in your life. Whether you're going to become the richest man in the world or the most beautiful woman on the planet, you're going to climb Mount Everest or you're going to beat Mr. Bolt in a 100-meter race, I don't know about these things. But every one of you can strive to become a wonderful human being and nobody can deny that to you. Now people, nor world situations, nor inclement weather can deny this to you, that you want to be a wonderful human being, nobody to stop you. So I want you to do a simple process. Write down three things. Write down three things when you go home. Whatever you think makes a human being into a wonderful human being, just three things, and make it a reality in your life. What you think is the highest. Don't do what I want, please do what you want. In your life, if you do not do what you want, it'll become a wasted life. You don't have to do what somebody else wants, but three things that you think will make a human being into a truly wonderful human being. These three things, make it a reality.
As it is said, a man is ill only because he does not know how to be still. Because in stillness, you're in touch with a dimension way beyond creation. So if one has to attain to that grace, at least a certain amount of stillness has to enter your life. For this to happen, a certain level of silence has to enter your life. If right now, if it is not coming, at least practicing a little bit of mouth. In an hour, if you're speaking 1573 words right now, how many more? How many words do you spit out in a minute? 1573, you're actually doing that many? I thought that's impossible. Okay, I believe you. So whatever number you're doing, see if you can articulate the same things that you're saying with half the number of words. Suddenly you will become extremely conscious of everything. Right now, our oral diarrhea is happening. If you're doing 1573, it's diarrhea, okay. Now, if you have to hold back half the words and still say the same things, now you have to be very conscious, otherwise you cannot say it. Just try this and see. Tomorrow, one day. In an hour, normally what number of words you utter, make it half. Don't curtail your activity, still say the same things, but with half the words. How wonderful the whole world will feel, you know. World will be a wonderful place, I'm telling you, tomorrow, if everybody does this. Many marriages will be saved.
This is a simple exercise everybody must do. At the end of the day, you sit in your bed and look back on the whole day from the morning you got up, how you've been going around. You will see 90% of the time you're quite stupid. I'm being generous with percentage, believe me. If you're given little work, if you're just given little responsibility, suddenly you become so important. You become bigger than the universe suddenly. How many times you expanded beyond the size of the universe? If you look at it, you will see most of the time it's bloated. How many times you became immortal, that is, you're not conscious of your mortality. Just… and how many times did you walk around looking at people and things around you without any sense of involvement? Just three things, you watch out. You will see, you will have to laugh through the night. Don't start crying. Just learn to laugh at your stupidity. You will see all the rubbish you carry will turn into manure very fast. And manure is good for growth, you know. Yes.
The next 12 months, you make yourself in such a way that you are not the issue in your life, not at all. Can you do this to yourself? You deserve this, I'm telling you. That you're not the trouble. Only if somebody is causing trouble to you, some trouble in your life. If you sit alone, you're never the trouble. Make yourself like that. For this you do one thing, all of you. Start today, okay? One thing that you don't want yourself to be. One small aspect, okay? Drop it today. Every full moon day, drop one more thing. However small it is, but concrete step, not big things. No, I will give up my anger. I don't believe such nonsense. You can say, from now on if I get angry, I will just shut my mouth, I won't say. This is doable. Yes? I will not get angry is not… right now not doable, isn't it? So like this, one concrete step every month you take about yourself. Something that you do not like, something that you feel is not necessary for your life, one little thing dropped every month. In 12 months' time, you will be a wonderful human being, that you are not an issue. Do that to yourself, you deserve this and it's worth it, isn't it? See about breaking heart. I don't have a broken heart because I gave away my heart very early on in my life, so nobody can break it, I gave it away. You should do that, then nobody can break it. See, we must understand this. What is a love affair? Is it okay? Mechanics of love affair, we can look at it. I'm not trying to de-romanticize everything. It's just this. Let's say you were 10 years of age. Looked around, the world was quite normal. Hello? Was it normal when you were 10, 12? It was normal. I'm not picking on you because you're in the first row, okay? So it was looking quite normal. Suddenly, after some time, you got little poisoned, chemically poisoned. Then you looked, every little bump on somebody's body looks like a world by itself. Hello? Till then everything was okay, isn't it? You're 10, 12, it's okay. You became 13 and you look like this, suddenly this is a world by itself. The neighborhood squawny girl who didn't mean a damn thing to you, suddenly she's the focus, she's the apple of your eye. Yes? So this is because your intelligence has been hijacked by your hormones. So it is making funny things happen. It is making you believe all kinds of things. When you look back and say you'll feel stupid, but it's okay, there's nothing wrong about it. But it's very important that we understand what's happening to us. Otherwise we'll do idiotic things that we may regret later, It is not a question of morality, it is a question of handling our life sense. Serial heartbreak business can leave you paranoid about anything, about bonding with anybody in your life. Yes or no? You had serial heartbreaks, it looked like fun for some time. After some time, you just don't actually trust anybody in your life because another human being is a problem always. Only when our emotions allow you to cross that problem, in some way they get included. But if we have serial heartbreaks, we will never allow our emotion to cross those barriers. We will always be cautious because anyway this is come with a… expiry date. When people come with an expiry date, yes, there is an expiry date for all of us, but relationships, the idea of building relationships is that it's of support on all levels of life, so that two people, that means two brains and two bodies can do better than one in many ways, in various aspects of life, in profession, in domestic situation, in life, in companionship, in emotion, in arranging and organizing our lives, in every way. Two people can do better than one person, that is the idea. And of course, nature is pushing us together because nature doesn't care about your love affair, it just wants you to reproduce. Yes? You think Mother Nature is worried whether you love or you don't love, it wants you to reproduce. But we've overdone that a little bit, there's no hurry, we don't have to yield to that. Hello? Yes? If you were a tiger, I would encourage you, please reproduce because it's an endangered species. Human beings definitely not endangered, we are endangering everything. So reproduction is not the purpose right now, we have kept it aside. But nature's push is towards that. But we have emotional needs, physical needs, psychological needs, maybe financial and social needs, variety of needs. To conduct these needs in a dignified way, to conduct these needs in a… See, once you come as a human being, you can't do things, though they're the same things what the animals do, but we would like to do it more gracefully, consciously.
Whether we eat or we copulate or we sleep, we like to do it little more aesthetically right. That's an important thing. For that, we need the cooperation of another person who is also somehow congruent to us. Every 2 days, if you have heartbreaks and going on, well, you will see the trouble of that.
That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. Now you made a very sweeping statement, a prejudice from the spiritual dimension. I want you to understand, spiritually, there is no mention of menstrual cycles anywhere because spiritually you cannot have menstrual cycles. Only physiologically you can have, okay? So it's a physiological issue which reflects as a psychological factor in a certain segment of women, I wouldn't say everyone, but quite a substantial segment of women find a reflection of their physiological process in their psychological makeup, which is a fact that has to be taken care of. If this is being said only because some temples and other things have said women cannot enter at that time, you need to understand this, from where this comes from. Today's woman you forget about. How she's equipped, how she's capable of handling her bodily needs and other things are a different matter. I want you to look back 1,000 years ago. What kind of sanitary facilities did she have? What kind of processes did she have? So, there could be issues about that, isn't it? It's only for that reason, they said, and above all, you need to understand the level of physical activity for a normal woman in those days. Cooking for 15, 20 people, taking care of the cows, taking care of the children, everything is hers. It's a tremendous amount of physical activity. So, the woman who is going through a certain process of her cycle, she gets 3 days, 4 days break from everything. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Because that's a time where it is almost like a molting period for a woman on one level. It's not as big as molting, but it's almost like that. That's a time where she needs to be cared for, protected, taken care of. Somebody else cooks for you, which never happens in her life. Every day she cooks, for those 4 days somebody else cooks for her, somebody else serves her food, she sits alone by herself, she meditates, she sings, she does prayer. Isn't this a good way of doing things, I'm asking? Do not consider this as today's life. Look back 1,000 years ago when these things were made. It was a very good way of protecting our women. But over a period of time, somebody makes this a discriminatory process. A woman should not come here, should not come there. That is just out of ignorance, certain things happen. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world, because if my mother did not have menstrual cycles, I wouldn't be born. No. We are born from that. If that is impure, our very birth is impure and the creation is impure. It's a ridiculous thought even to think like that. It is not because of purity and impurity this has come. It has come for practical reasons. Even today I meet thousands of women who suffer a lot at that time because they still have to go to work, they still have to deal with everything. There are many of them who are on medication at that time just to keep their psychological balance. They would definitely enjoy rest, they would definitely enjoy a little bit of seclusion from everything that they are doing. But thinking it is pure, impure question is coming in a very rudimentary mind. It is no fundamental sense about life. The fear is simply because you're not living with life, you're living in your mind. Your fear is always about what's going to happen next. That means your fear is always about that which does not exist. If your fear is about the non-existent, your fear is 100% imaginary. If you're suffering the non-existential, we call that insanity. So, people may be in just socially accepted levels of insanity, but if you're afraid or if you're suffering anything which does not exist, it amounts to insanity, isn't it? People are always suffering, either what happened yesterday or what may happen tomorrow. So your suffering is always about that which does not exist, simply because you're not rooted in reality. You're always rooted in your mind. Mind is… one part of it is memory, another part of it is imagination. Both of them are in one way imagination, because both of them don't exist right now. You're lost in your imagination, that's the basis of your fear. If you were rooted in reality, there would be no fear.